Okay, this is chapter 4 from CFIN7, lecture 1, the time value of money is at least one of the most important concepts that are set of concepts that you need to grasp to understand finance, because you as you work your way through the course, you will use the time value of money over and over. That's not necessarily the case with some of the other things that you'll learn in the course. So, So what do we want to learn in this chapter? We'll learn how to identify various cash flow patterns or streams seen in business. We're going to compute the future value of different cash flow streams and explain the results. Specifically, we'll calculate the future value of a lump sum and the future value of an annuity. We'll compute the present value of different cash flow streams, including present value of a lump sum, present value of an annuity, and also present value of uneven cash flows. Present value is really important because that's how assets are valued. So when you purchase an asset, the cost of that asset is the present value of all those expected future cash flows. So we'll talk more about that as the chapter progresses. We'll compute the return, interest rate on the loan. We'll calculate the number of periods or how long it takes to reach a financial goal. We'll learn and explain the difference between annual percentage rate and effective annual rate, also known as APR and EAR, respectively. And we'll talk about an amortized loan. We'll compute the payment, and we'll demonstrate how the loan is amortized. If you have a car loan, or a mortgage, there is most likely a amortization schedule in the loan documents. You can look and see after a certain number of payments, it'll tell you the balance, how much of the payment goes to principal, how much of the payment goes to interest, and so forth. And we'll see that later in the chapter. So time value of money. So dollar amounts from different periods should never be compared. They should only be compared when they are stated in dollars at the same point in time. So we either need to calculate a present value or a future value so that we can compare those cash flows. So dollars from different time periods have opportunities to earn different amounts of interest and so forth. So may have more or fewer periods to earn that return. So time value of money provides you with the guidelines, principles, computation used to revalue those cash flows from different time periods, so that you can state them in the same time period. So we can either look at them today or at some point in the future. So, example here, 10% opportunity cost rate. This book uses opportunity cost rate a lot. I prefer a rate of return or interest rate, APR, the required rate of return. Any of those I like better. Opportunity cost rate sounds like an economist wrote the book. So anyway, so at a 10% opportunity cost rate, which is better, receiving $700 today or receiving $935 in 3 years? Well, answer that question as we work through the slides. In order to do that, we're going to have to value those payoffs and at the same time. So we either calculate a future value, which we'll do first, or we need to calculate a present value. So we have a timeline here. So we have a present value of $700 and a 10% return. We've got 3 years in the future. So we got 3 years of interest that we need to add to that $700. And then to calculate the present value, we have to discount that $935 by 10% per year. So we'll go through that calculation here shortly. So cash flow timelines is just a graphical representation show the timing of the cash flows. So here we saw this on the previous page. We have present value of $700, and then we're going to add 10% each year and come up with a future value. So present value is the beginning amount that can be invested. So the current value of some future amount. So in this case, our present value is $700. Future value is the value which an amount invested today will grow to at the end of some number of periods. At a rate of return, in this case, equal to 10% in our example. Different types of cash flow patterns. We touched on these a little bit. Lump sum. So a lump sum is a single payment amount received or made that occurs, today or sometime in the future. Annuity is a series of payments, a series of identical payments made over equal intervals. So, for example, monthly, annually, quarterly, so forth. And finally, we have uneven cash flows. So multiple cash flows of different amounts over some period of time. And that's uneven cash flows are what corporations typically deal with, because they're, most cases the cash flows aren't necessarily certain or fixed. So future value. So compounding. To compute future value, we have to add interest each year, and then we add, after the first year, we end up with what is called compounding. So compounding is interest on interest. So that's why the rate of growth is not perfectly linear. Ways to solve time value money, cash flow timeline, equation, financial calculator, spreadsheet. There are in the examples for in Canvas, there are examples of equations, financial calculator, and spreadsheet solutions. We also used to use interest rate tables. They're become obsolete because of spreadsheets and potential calculators and so forth. But you would literally look on a sheet of paper and multipy the amount of the loan by a factor to determine the payment, so forth. So cash flow timeline solution. So future value of $700 at 10% for 3 years. So we're going to multiply $700 in the first year by 1 plus the rate, 1.1. So we get $770. 770 times 1.1, again, $847. So now we're seeing compounding. Compounding is that interest on interest. So we're not only earning interest on the principal, we're earning interest on the interests. So $847 times 1.1. So end up with $931.70. So we can already see that, and if we go back to our original example, receiving the $935 would be a better option in the future, as opposed to receiving $700 today, assuming our required rate of return is 10%. So we will start the next lecture with the equation.